Galaxy of Knowledge, Domesh. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Hello, Nagasubu. Am I audible? Good morning, Vijaya. Okay. Thank you everybody for joining in. We will be looking at the continuation act. Okay. Yesterday we have looked into the some of the World Heritage sites. Okay. I'm just waiting for a couple more to join, and we will start right away. Okay. Yesterday we have looked into some of the World Heritage sites that are in India, cultural sites. Okay. So today we will be continuing with the next 10 sites, and by tomorrow all the 30 sites would be covered from the cultural session. And but after in our last session we will completely cover the natural sites and the mixed sites. Okay. So, and this would be a comprehensive coverage for prelims purpose. This is more than enough for you as far as the UNESCO World Heritage sites are considered. Also, this is not just for UPSC. Many questions can be asked for your other examinations. Okay. Also, okay. Hello. Good morning. Hello, Rumana. Hello, Thana. Welcome. Okay. So, yeah. Now let's begin our session for today. Okay, so if I am going too fast or anything, you can simply text me in the comment section. Okay, if you want more explanation or anything like that. I am new actually. This is just my second session on YouTube as such. So you can see me, but I cannot see you guys. So I do not know how much you are able to keep up with. So please let me know if you need me to be more slow or have to do something else. Okay. So before we begin, let me first tell you something about Unacademy, because that is the reason why we are able to conduct this class. Okay. So I'll just take a couple of minutes to tell you about Unacademy. So Unacademy is India's largest learning platform. Okay. So you may have already heard about a lot about Unacademy. It is so popular because we offer you a lot of things. For example, we have the live daily classes. Here you can interact with me, other educators, and you can engage in discussions. You can question. There are poll sessions also. Okay, this is not just in the YouTube. There are free sessions in the Unacademy website also. I have already conducted some sessions there. You can go back and check that. There are polls. I will conduct live quizzes and all that. Okay. Then we have live tests and quizzes. Which the more you attempt these things, you will get more confident and you will be better placed in the examination scenario. Okay, then we have structured courses where the entire syllabus for a particular examination will be covered. It is streamlined for you to complete the syllabus of that particular examination. Then you have unlimited access to a lots of resources, videos, and all those stuff. Okay, so how do you get all these? Simply download the Unacademy learning app. Okay, download this, give some basic details, subscribe, and that's it. You can see lots of free lessons, and if you want to subscribe for a premium package, you can do that, which gives you even more wide access to a lot of things. Okay, so this is about me. I am Madhav Sankar R Warrier. I have conducted multiple sessions on various topics for schools and college students. Most of them were on-site sessions. That's why I said online sections is a bit new to me. Okay, so I have been a banker as well. Right now I'm an educator with Unacademy. So if you have any queries or doubts, you can contact me at this particular WhatsApp number. I will be looking into it and getting back to you. And all the lessons and all the materials that I use will be here available at this channel, Telegram channel. Please subscribe to that as well. Okay. Today's portions also I will be putting it into the Telegram channel. And to watch my lessons at Unacademy, you can simply put this in your URL box and start listening. Alright. So some familiar faces here. You may have seen all these educators before. You can attend their classes. You can listen to them, ask them queries, all with Unacademy. And this is the UPSC specific area. And we offer you all these following courses. even more actually. Okay, so the usual polity, governance, IR, history, and also optional courses. There are many optional courses that are very hard to get in usual academies that are near you, but Unacademy offers you optional courses for almost all the optional subjects in UPSC Civil Service Examination, along with answer writing courses for the mains and practice and strategy sessions for the prelims examination. So these are the basic subscription packages. Okay, you can take any of these subscription package based on whatever you require. Unacademy offers you two kinds of membership. One is the plus one, and other is the iconic. Plus subscription, you can take it for 1 year or 2 years. If you take it for 1 year, if you are preparing for 2021, please do subscribe for this 1 year thing. Otherwise, if you are taking for 2022 or later, this one is a better package. So 1 year fee is 44,000, but you can get it at 10% discount if you use the code MSRW1. Okay, same goes for 2-year package with a 10% reduction upon using my code. Okay, but the difference between the iconic subscription and other one, a plus subscription, is that iconic subscription will give you a personalized mentor. So there will be a guide or a mentor with you, assigned to you throughout your preparation period. So he or she will be giving you feedbacks, answering your queries, and it's literally like a one-on-one teacher. Okay, so it won't be a broadcast or anything. It will be a one-on-one experience with the teachers. So, and these are the packages. Again, we have a 1 year package and a 2-year package. The prices are as given below. And again, here also you will get a 10% discount upon using the code MSRW1. Okay. So this is my channel at Unacademy, unacademy.com/@MSRW. You can visit this and see the videos. I have already completed a series of 3 videos regarding evolution of education in India. Okay, it starts from all the way of the Charter Act of 1813 and to the recent National Education Policy of 2020. It's a comprehensive coverage. If you listen to these sessions, you do not have to listen to anything else as far as education sector is concerned. Okay, so coming back to our session, this is where we left yesterday. Okay, so UNESCO World Heritage Sites, we have covered 10 among these earlier. Okay, so 10 among these has been completed, and today we will be looking into another 10 of the cultural sites in India which are listed under the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay, and these are the natural and mixed sites. We will be looking into these as well, not today, in another session. So 10 of them I have said has been already discussed. Ajanta Caves has been discussed, Ellora has been discussed, Agra Fort, Fatehpur Sikri, and all that has been completed yesterday. So today we will be starting with the enrollments from 1987. Okay, and the first one is Elephanta Caves. So a very important historical cultural heritage site which got listed under the UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987. Okay, so Elephanta was anciently known as Gharapuri and was the capital of Konkan Mauryas. So we have heard about the Mauryas. Mauryas was the first empire builders in India, all thousands of years ago, right? We know about Chandragupta Maurya and Ashoka, Brihadrata, and all those people. Bimbisara, sorry. Okay, so after the Nandas were vanquished, the Mauryas came into power, and they were the first biggest dynasty in India. So the Konkan, it was the Elephanta Caves, or Elephanta, anciently known as Gharapuri, the island capital of Konkan Mauryas. Now this is located in the state of Maharashtra. So whenever you study about a monument or something like that, make sure to know its location. Okay, especially if you are a history optional person, make sure that you know the location, you know about any rivers flowing nearby, you know about which dynasty or which patronage, which kings owed their patronage to that particular monument, and all these things. Okay, these are very important. If you remember, history optional paper 1 has a map in it, compulsory map, 20 questions, and carrying 2.5 marks for each of them. So a total of 50 marks will come from maths. So make sure to get it. For that, make sure you know the location. So this is in Maharashtra, okay, Elephanta caves. And this cave is dedicated to Lord Shiva and was excavated sometime in the 8th century by Rashtrakuta kings. So here is the dynasty, the Rashtrakuta dynasty, which ruled over the Maharashtra region in the 8th and 9th centuries, and they only excavated this cave. Okay, and this cave is dedicated to Lord Shiva. So yesterday, Ellora cave, we learned that it was a Hindu cave. It had Hindu aspects, it had Christian aspects, Muslim aspects. I'm sorry, okay, that was Qutub Minar, and Ellora caves had in Hinduism itself, the Shaiva aspect and Vaishnava aspects. Okay, I got confused a bit there. I was looking at your chat and didn't know what I thought. So yeah, it was dedicated to Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, and other Buddhist elements were, and Jainist elements were also there. Okay, so here instead of all that, this is particularly dedicated to Lord Shiva only. Now, Elephanta caves is a conglomeration of 7 caves. Okay, so the number of caves need not study. It's not of that importance, but keep in mind that the most important among the Elephanta caves is the Maheshamurti cave. Okay, so in Ajanta caves also we learned about some particular caves which are of importance based on the artworks in that cave. So remember that only. And here the most important one is the Maheshamurti cave. In Ellora we had the Kailasanatha cave. Remember, I hope you remember that, the single monolithic statue of Kailasanatha. So here we have the Maheshmurti. Okay, so Maheshmurti with the 3 heads representing different forms of Shiva. Now there are also gigantic Dwarapalakas or doorkeepers. So ancient monuments or architectures will always accompany with Dwarapalakas, Dikpalakas, Apsaras, and all these sculptures, right? And here also we find impressive sculptures of these doorkeepers. And there are sculptures of Shiva in various forms. One is the Ardhanarishwara. You may have seen that, right? Shiva and Parvati Devi together as the Ardhanarishwara. Then Kalyana Sundara Shiva, Ravana lifting the Kailasa, Andhaga Murti, and the Nadaraja Shiva, very famous Nadaraja Shiva. So Shiva himself is depicted in all these forms in Elephanta caves. So this cave is dedicated to Shiva alone and not any other belief systems or religions. Okay, so that is basically what you need to remember about Elephanta caves. So next one, Great Living Chola Temples of 1987. Okay, somebody is telling me it's a bit boring. Yeah, I know that it's a bit boring. This is a very dry subject. I'm not taking a course as such. This is just about a particular monument or a particular place and some points about it. Okay, and we will start the art and culture classes regarding temple making, the different types of temple making like the Nagara, Vesara, Dravida styles and all that in the coming classes, and then you will get a flow. Alright, but now we are looking at the heritage sites one by one. That's it. So number 12, the great Chola temples of which has been adopted in 1987, situated in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. So Cholas ruled in the southern India. There were the famous dynasties like Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, Chalukyas. All these dynasties ruled towards the southern portion of India. Okay, so this one is regarding the Chola temples, and it comprises of very famous temples: the Brihadeshwara temples of Tanjavur, Gangaikonda Choleshwaram, and the Airadeshwara temple of at Dharasura. So mainly 3 temples of Cholas: Brihadeshwara temple, Gangaikonda Choleshwaram, and the Airavadeshwara temple. And the 3 Chola temples in India are exemplary production of Dravidian style of architecture. So there are some features in the Dravidian style of architecture. There are some features in the Nagara style and Vesara style and all that. So Dravidian style has some particular features. For if you can see this image, you will see that there is a Gopura, right, in the form of step by step, right, as individual steps you can see here. But in the northern Shigaras and all, you will see a more curvilinear structure, which is the Nagara style of architecture. So these are different, and this is one typical example of Dravidian style of architecture. Okay. Now we have the Brihadeshwara temple, situated at Tanjavur, was the capital of Chola kings, especially Rajendra Chola. Okay, one of the very famous Cholas, Rajendra Chola, had his capital at Gangaikonda Chola. Now, King Rajaraja Chola constructed the Brihadeshwara temple in the 10th century AD and was designed by Samavarma. So, UPSC doesn't exactly have asked this part of the sentence here, but remember that it was Rajaraja Chola who constructed the Brihadeshwara temple. Okay. Now, second, there is another complex associated with this, and it was built by Rajendra I. So, a bit later, after Rajaraja Chola, Rajendra I constructed the other part of this Brihadeshwara temple complex. Other two famous temples here are the Gangaikonda Cholashwiram and the Airavadeshwara temple. Okay, and this also exemplifies the Dravidian style of architecture, and it brings forth the splendor, and it brings forth all the sculptural methods of ancient period or medieval period, you can say. Now, the great temple at Tanjore was built in 1003 and 1010. Okay, so remember that you need not study the year as such. I have used this because this is as per the Government of India website only. So that's why I have put everything as such without adding anything or subtracting anything. So just remember that you need to know when the temple was built, around which period, the king or the dynasty. That's enough. Okay, no need for studying any years unless you are studying modern India. Okay, so in the reign of King Rajaraja of the Chola Empire. Okay, and the walls of these temples are covered with sculptural decoration. So anything, whenever you write a mains answer regarding temple architecture, you can go with this. There are exemptions where the sculptural work is very less, but otherwise you can go with these kinds of points in most of the Dravidian style of temples. Almost all the temples have immense and luxurious sculptures of Apsaras, Devastris, Dwarapalagas, Dikpalagas, and all that. Okay. Moving on to group of monuments at Pattadakal. This was added to the UNESCO list in 1987, and this is situated in the state of Karnataka. So earlier we covered some sites in Tamil Nadu. Now we are coming to Karnataka, and Pattadakal is an excellent example for one such that made to the list. And here also we can see a mixture of architectural styles. Okay, predominantly Dravidian, but we can also see some northern features in this temple. Now, Pattadakal was the capital of Chalukya dynasty of medieval India. Okay, so earlier we looked into the Chola capital. Now we are coming to the Chalukya capital in Karnataka, and this is a very famous World Heritage Site and has 10 temples in it. This is also a temple complex, not a single temple. It's a temple complex and have around 10 major temples within the complex. This was built in the 7th and 8th centuries and famous for the royal coronation of Pattadakisuvolal. Okay, this was an ancient king of Chalukya dynasty who ruled in the 8th century, and his coronation was conducted at this particular temple, and that is how this temple is predominant in historical period. Now, temples constructed here mark the blending of Rekhanagara Prasada and the Dravida Vimana styles. So, Rekha Prasada is a kind of Nagara style of architecture. In Nagara architecture, there is the Shikhara on top of the Garbhagriha. Garbhagriha is the area where the deity is placed, and there, right on top of that, there is a Shikhara, a curvilinear structure, a Shikhara, and this Shikhara is of various types. Okay, and one of that style is the Rekha Prasada style. I will tell you what's the difference between Rekha Prasada style and the Vimana and Gopura and all that. But for now, just understand that this particular temple blends the Rekha Prasada style of Nagara architecture with the Dravidian architectural style. So it is a mixture of northern and southern styles. The Pattadakal temple. Oldest temple at Pattadakal is the Sangameshwara temple, built by the Vijayaditya Satyasraya. So among this is just another point that you need to remember. That's all. Sangameshwara temple is the oldest among the Pattadakal group of temples of Karnataka. Mallikarjuna temple, Virupaksha temple were built by two queens of Vikramaditya II to commemorate the victory of Chalukyas over Pallavas. So yesterday we looked into some of the Pallava architectures, and here the Chalukyas have built this temple in order to commemorate their victory over Pallavas. Okay, that was the reason behind the making of this temple. And Virupaksha temple, I think many of you may have heard of this, right? What was the major reason for construction of temples? Okay, so it's a good question. Reason for construction of temples are various. Okay, if you look at history, you will see that in the very ancient period, the number of temples were very less. For example, in the Indus Valley civilization period, there is no evidence for temple building. This temple building started only later from a late age, from Mauryas and it flourished during the Gupta period. So we see the Brahmanical dominance coming up. That is the start of all this. So when the social hierarchy or the class structure came prominent, they started to divide the society into four: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So Brahmana and Kshatriyas had a competition to get into power. So who was the higher class? Was it Brahmana or was it Kshatriya? So there was a mutual conflict, and Kshatriyas were the rulers. Brahmanas were considered sacred or considered closer to the god, right? That was the belief system in the ancient period. So in order to settle this course, actually earlier kings used to place Brahmanas as Rajgurus in their palace, very high position, and they used to take advices and all that. And in return, Brahmanas offered their validity to the kings. So even kings who were born in, say, lower classes, so a Vaishyas or Shudra, can be made into a Brahmana or can be given that validation of a ruler or of a Kshatriya by a Brahmana. This was the arrangement between kings and Brahmanas. And for all these, the Kshatriyas used to donate a lot of money, a lot of wealth into for the Brahmanical religious practices. That is how temples these massive temples started coming. For example, if you look at the Kerala area of the southern India, you will see that the number of temples are very, very less. We have the Padmanabha Swami temple, of course, that's a very big temple. We have the Shabarimala temple, but all the architectures there are very small. There are no massive structures like the Tanjavur temple or the Brihadeshwara temple or the Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Why? Because the kings were less wealthy. The area of their power was small, so less wealthy, so cannot build such big temples. But on the Tamil Nadu area, you can see lots of these temples, also in northern India. Why? Because the dynasties that ruled this place was very big, and they had the wealth to do that. So also there were conflicts between various dynasties. For example, for a particular dynasty, their god will be Vishnu. For another dynasty, their clan god will be Shiva. And when these two fight and one of them lose, the other will make a temple of the Vishnu or Shiva to impose that their deity is supreme or their beliefs are supreme. So all these were the reasons why temples were built. Okay, not just religious. There are economic reasons, there are political reasons, and there are social reasons. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Now, coming back to the session, Virupaksha temple. I think many of you may have gone there at the Virupaksha temple, built by Queen Lokamahadevi, and it originally called the Lokeshwara temple. Okay, so this temple is built in the southern Dravida style of architecture and is the largest in enclosure. Again, another southern Dravida style of architecture, and here Virupaksha temple also served as a model for the Rashtrakuta temple to carve out the great Kailasha at Ellora. So yesterday we talked about this Kailashanada temple at Ellora, and this Virupaksha temple has been served as an inspiration, as a model for the building of that temple. It was built by Rashtrakutas. Remember that. Here Pattadakal temple was built by Chalukyas. Okay, and in the ceilings we had all these. Just read through this. I will share this in the Telegram channel. We have all these murtis and all these architectural forms. Stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, Panchatantra are all filled into the or inscribed into the edifices of this temple. Okay. Now the Jambulinga temple at Pattadakal has a fine figure of dancing Shiva with Nandi and Parvati. So remember, the dancing Shiva and Nandi, Shiva's Vahana, and Parvati together are seen in the Pattadakal temples. UPSC can ask these kinds of questions. They have earlier asked a question like, where was the Vajrapani and Padmavani figures seen? Okay, in the Ajanta caves. That was a question in previous year's question paper. So UPSC do ask about the paintings, specific paintings in these sites. So keep that in mind. Okay, so yeah, that was what I was just telling you. Questions do come like this. You have to know about the important paintings or important artworks in a particular temple. You have to know the style. You have, which means Dravidian style or Nagara style or Vesta style, that, and you have to know about the dynasty who patronized that. You have to know about the any rivers or any such important sites that are located here. For example, yesterday when we spoke about some monuments from Maharashtra, we talked about the Vaghora river, right? That was the river that was flowing around. Then when we looked into Hampi, we talked about the Tungabhadra river. So remember all these things. This is how UPSC frames questions. UPSC loves rivers, okay? Rivers and architectural paintings. Both these are very favorite topic for UPSC. Now, the Chandrasekhara and the Kadadishwara temple. Okay, these are another group of temples again found at the Pattadakal group of temples. Moving on, Buddhist monuments at Sanchi. So, if you know about Buddhism, you will know about all the architecture that has went into this. You have obviously seen this figure before. The very famous Buddhist stupa at Sanchi. You can see the Torana, right? The Vedika, the Harmiga, the Anda, right? All these things. Okay, so remember that when from this portion, UPSC can ask questions about this. For example, what is a Torana, or they can say that the gateway to a Buddhist monument or a Buddhist stupa is called Torana, whether it is right or not. And then the railings around the stupa is called a Vedika. And these kinds of questions can come if it goes for purely architectural style. Otherwise, especially in mains as well as history optional, questions will come more in depth. Okay, so we will be looking into some points, very dry points. Okay, I am not going to talk about the architecture, but we will be looking into some strict points here. Earlier, Sanchi was known as Kaganaya, Kaganava, or Kaganadavota. Okay, so these were the early names of Sanchi, not important. But remember, Sanchi is located in Madhya Pradesh. Many students make mistake here. People think that Sanchi is located in Bihar or say Uttar Pradesh. I have seen many people making this basic mistake. Remember, Sanchi is located in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, it is very famous for the stupas, or especially the Ashokan pillar and various other Buddhist monasteries. So yesterday I asked what a Chaitya is, what a Vihara is. I hope you remember that. So a Chaitya is a hall where Buddhist monks conduct prayers. Remember that. Okay, that it's a prayer hall, Chaitya. And the Vihara is where they reside. Buddhist monks never reside at a place for more than a particular time because they believe that it causes attachment, and having attachment to things is against the concept of Buddhism. So they keep on traveling, and for that they need a residence place wherever they go, right? So many viharas were constructed at that time. Okay, so can you please ask in English? I am not exactly familiar with Hindi, so optional. Yeah, there is one subject. Okay, you have to. There are two papers for each. You have to choose one subject. So I think that's what you asked. Okay, anyway, please ask. If possible, please ask in English. All right. I am not familiar with Hindi. Okay. The Sanchi stupas are noteworthy for their gateways as they contain ornamented depiction of incidents from Buddha's early lives. So Bodhisattvas, this was another UPSC question. What are Bodhisattvas or who are Bodhisattvas? And the options used are very confusing. They put like Bodhisattvas are the disciples of Buddha, or they say that Bodhisattvas are the group of monks who lived with Buddha, and all those things. Remember, Bodhisattvas are the previous incarnations of Buddha. And you may have not heard about this Jataka tales, right? Jataka tales gives you a message and gives you some moral stories and all that. And Jataka tales that are the stories of Bodhisattvas, Buddha's previous life. Okay, as various animals, as human, and all that. Okay, so all these stories are depicted or inscribed into the walls of this stupa. And this is another point, not important, but I have just put it there because it's available in the government website and may be useful. But do remember, study about Archaeological Survey of India. Okay, here General Taylor, a British officer, rediscovered this stupa, and John Marshall, Director General of Archaeology, conducted a restoration work. But the thing you have to study here is about Archaeological Survey of India. What does it do, and what is its mandate? What are, like, for example, does it protect only monuments? Does it have jurisdiction over antiquities and ancient artifacts and all those things? So ASI is a very important area. During the Shunga times, several edifices were raised at Sanchi and its surrounding hills. Again, although this stupa has Ashokan pillar and all, and we may think that it is an entirely Mauryan era thing, but remember, during the Shunga times also, there were some constructions that happened in the Buddhist stupa at Sanchi. Largest stupa, also known as the Great Stupa, that is what is shown in this figure, and it is surrounded by railings with 4 carved gateways. Okay, you can see this is the gateway. Okay, and this gateway is immensely carved. There are lots of minute miniature carvings that has gone into this gateway, and this gateway is known as Torana. Okay, Torana, that is the name, and this shape, this semicircular shape, is called Anda. Okay, just like an egg shape, okay, Anda. And if you can see this small railing here, at the top of this Anda, it is called Harmika. Okay, and above the Harmika, there is another small structure in the shape of an umbrella. Okay, here actually around this area, there is it is not visible in this figure. It is called a chhatra, like umbrella. Okay, chhatra, and the railings around this, or the building wall, as we can call it, is called the Vedika. Okay, and finally, the area where we conduct the pradakshina around this stupa is called the Pradakshina Pada. Okay, so Torana, the gateway, Harmika, the structure above Anda, Chhatra, the umbrella like structure above the Harmika, Anda, the semicircular dome, the Vedika, the outer wall, and the Pradakshina Pada, where we conduct the Pradakshina, or where we go around the stupa. Okay, these are the important parts of a stupa, Buddhist stupa. Alright. HUMAYUN'S tomb, Delhi. This was added in 1993. Okay, and HUMAYUN'S tomb is very famous for one of the earliest specimens of the Mughal architecture. Okay, whenever we talk about Mughal architecture, we talk about Shah Jahan, right? Because his buildings are the most attractive and very lofty, right? Because he used white marbles. Marbles came into prominence during the Shah Jahan period. Before that also, marbles were used in the Mughal buildings, but not so lavishly. Okay, so this was built in 1570, and it is the first garden tomb of Indian subcontinent. So what is a garden tomb? Garden tomb means nothing, and just as the word suggests, the tomb will be at the center and there will be garden surrounding it. And there are many methods or many styles in which these gardens can be placed, and one such very prominent style is called the Charbagh style. Okay, Charbagh style is used in the Humayun's tomb. So what is Charbagh? Char means four, right? Bagh means garden. So there are four gardens, and it is basically a plus structure. So if this is the garden, the tomb will be located here. Okay, and here there will be water. These lines are the waterways. Okay, four waterways to the four directions, and here we have the four gardens. Alright, this is the Charbagh architecture, Charbagh style of construction. And Humayun's tomb has been, he is the first garden tomb in Indian subcontinent constructed in the Charbagh style. Okay. The Charbagh has been used for the this purpose, aesthetic senses only. I don't know if it has any religious relevance as such, but the thing was that the emperor was the central figure, and for that, in order to, the Mughals believed that the Mughal emperor was the central figure of power, right, of the Islamic world. Earlier, we had the Turkish kings or the Persian kings as the caliph, main caliph. But once Mughals came to India, Mughals actually cut their relations with the Persians or the Persian king, and they themselves were proclaimed as the supreme Muslim leaders. And in order to show that centrality, these kinds of structures were created. See, if you can see here, the tomb is at the center of this garden. Okay, so the concept is that the Mughal seat of power is the highest power at among the Muslim rulers. Okay, so that was one of the concepts, but I do not know if there is any other relevance as far as why this particular style was chosen. Okay, I have read about this particular aspect, but do not know if anything else is there. I will look into it and come back, get back to you in the next session if there is anything. Okay. Anyway, this magnificent red and white sandstone. Okay, this is another important point. Whenever you learn about a monument, understand what is the things employed to create that structure. What kind of stone, especially in ancient India. For example, the dancing girl statue. Was it iron? Was it bronze? Was it copper? Okay, look into all that. And when you come to buildings, was it red and white sandstone? Was it something like, say, grey sandstone or marble and things like that? Okay, especially in art, you may have heard about the Gandhara art, right? Amaravati school of art, Gandhara art, Mathura style of art. So all this varies based on the material used for sculpturing. So focus on to that as well. Very, very important. It has been previously asked in UPSC. Okay, so the dome is what is called a full dome, complete semicircle. So if you have constantly observed certain Muslim buildings, the domes can be a complete semicircle or partial semicircle. It may not come all the way to the diameter. Okay, so but Humayun's tomb is a complete semicircle and hence is called a full dome architecture. Okay, now the historic monument was erected by Humayun's queen Hamida Banu Begum or Haji Begum. Okay, PDF I will be sharing at my Telegram channel. You can subscribe to Telegram channel and I will be sharing it there at the end of the class. Okay, so Hamida Banu Begum constructed this Humayun tomb, and this has a double-storied gateway, not that much important. Okay, I already told you about the Charbagh architecture, Charbagh style of construction, and the last Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar had taken refuge in this tomb during First War of Independence. So if you remember, in 1857 uprising, the Bahadur Shah Zafar II, the last Mughal emperor, was dethroned. He was compulsorily forced into pension and he escaped to Rangoon. You know the story. And he used this tomb to take refuge during the revolt of 1857. Okay, and last point, not that much important, but it is the method by which Muslims are usually buried. Their face will be facing to the Mecca direction, okay, sideways, and their body will be aligned in a north-south direction. It is not important here, but when you study ancient history, that is very important. you have to look into the various cremation methods of Indus Valley people, and there you will see some are buried in port burial, some are buried in a east west direction, some are in north south direction. So keep particular focus when in regarding these as far as the Indus Valley sites are concerned. Here not that much important. Okay, QUTUB Minar, very famous monument. I think many of you have went there already. So QUTUB Minar is another example for the red and buff sandstone. You can see that, right? There are some white marbles also there in QUTUB Minar. If you take a closer look, you will see that. But otherwise, it is completely constructed by red sandstone, and it is a 13th century construction. So something of the Delhi Sultanate period. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The complex has a number of other important monuments as well. Again, another UPSC question. UPSC asks questions like, they will give you a complex and ask which of the following monuments are within that complex of buildings. And UPSC, I think, has asked the question like, among the following, which are not part of Fatehpur Sikri? That has been asked, and they give options like Panch Mahal, Buland Darwaza, Alai Darwaza, and all that. So you need to know which all monuments come under which all complexes, especially the QUTUB Minar complex and the Fatehpur Sikri. Okay. And here the QUTUB Minar complex includes Alai Darwaza, Quwwatul Islam Mosque, tombs of Iltutmish, Alauddin Khilji, and Imam Zamin. Okay, last Imam Zamin, not that much important, but remember Iltutmish and Alauddin Khilji and Quwwatul Islam Mosque, very important monument of the medieval period. Okay, so Qutbuddin Aibak, we all know how the Delhi Sultanate started, right? It started in the year 1206, and the first dynasty in the Delhi Sultanate is the slave dynasty, and the first king was the Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak and Muhammad bin Bakhtiyar Khalji were the two prominent leaders at that time, and Qutbuddin Aibak concentrated his power in Delhi, and he was the founder of the slave dynasty. Okay, so the purpose of QUTUB Minar was actually to give out prayer calls. You know that muazzin, right? The prayer cries that happen at particular times in a day, and this minaret was built in order to do that. And eventually, although Qutbuddin Aibak started construction of this building, he did not complete it. The building was completed only by his son-in-law Shamsuddin Iltutmish. So Qutbuddin Aibak started the construction of QUTUB Minar, which was completed by Iltutmish. Okay, Quwwatul Islam Mosque was constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak himself, and this is the earliest extant mosque built by the Delhi Sultans. Okay, so Quwwatul Islam Mosque was also built by Qutbuddin Aibak. This question I have seen this question in many mock test series by academies. They ask questions like, which of the following was constructed by slave dynasty, or which of the following was not constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak, and some options will be given. So remember, Quwwatul Islam Mosque and QUTUB Minar both were built by Qutbuddin Aibak. Iron pillar in the courtyard bears an inscription in Sanskrit Brahmi script of the 4th century AD. According to the pillar, set up as a Vishnu Dhwaja, standard god of Vishnu, on the hill known as the Vishnu Pada, in memory of the king named Chandra. So not that much important point, but understand that the famous iron pillar is also located in this particular complex, and it is inscribed in Sanskrit Brahmi script. That's all that you need to remember. Okay, when this Delhi Sultans came to India, they demolished a lot of earlier buildings. For example, there near QUTUB Minar there was another complex with a Garuda cap on top of that, but all those were destroyed by the Delhi Sultans, and they constructed their own monuments there. So iron pillar, but still had the Sanskrit inscription, and still have that in Brahmi script. Tomb of Iltutmish was built in 1235. It is a plain square chamber of red sandstone and Saracenic tradition. So what is Saracenic tradition? It is a mixture of both Hindu and Islamic architectural styles. Okay, and Tomb of Iltutmish is another tomb that is within this QUTUB Minar complex. Keep that in mind. Alai Darwaza, southern gateway of Quwwatul Islam Mosque, was constructed by Alauddin Khalji. Easy to remember, both starts with Ala. Okay, Alai Darwaza, Alauddin Khalji. And this was the first building employing the Islamic principles of construction and ornamentation. So earlier, because Islam is not a Indian born religion, right? Indian born religions are Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism. So most of the ancient architectural forms were in these religious methods only. And the first building that completely employed the Islamic principles is the Alai Darwaza, built by Alauddin Khalji. Alai Minar, which stands at the north of Qutub Minar, was commenced by Alauddin Khalji. Again, easy to remember, starting with the same name. Okay, and yeah, that's probably it about Qutub Minar complex. Third one, mountain railways of 17th in this list. Okay, here is an additional information. The third story by Firoz Shah Tughlaq and not Khilji. No, I did not say it is Khilji. I said it started by Qutub Minar was started by the first slave king Qutbuddin Aibak, completed by Iltutmish. Okay, later on it did undergo lots of additional renovations and all that. And this is a good point additionally added here. Third story was built by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, Alauddin Khilji did not build the Qutub Minar. He built the additional structures like the Alai Darwaza and Alai Minar. Okay. Now, mountain railways. So, as far as mountain railways of India is concerned, it has been added to the UN World Heritage Sites in 1999. Okay. So, not much. I will tell you straight away. This is not much important for UPSC. This particular slide. There are two slides in this railway system. You can just, I will just read through it. That's all. Not important. Remember that it is also a UN World Heritage Site. There are three major mountain railways in India. Just remember their names. That's more than enough. One is Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. Okay, I have written some points here. Not that much important. You can read it from the PDF that I will upload in the Telegram channel. Okay, otherwise not that important. Just understand its location and the name. Remember the name. That's it. So we have the Darjeeling Himalayan Railways, and it runs between the Darjeeling in West Bengal. That's all you need to know. Darjeeling, West Bengal. Okay. Then we have the Nilgiri. Second one is the Nilgiri. It's the South Indian thing. Nilgiri is the place where Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats meet together, and there we have the famous Blue Mountain Express. Okay, Udangamandalam or Ooty. Okay, it's in Tamil Nadu, in the state of Tamil Nadu. It has been added to UNESCO list in 2005. Okay, and last one, Kalka Shimla Railway. This is the most recent among the hill railways that has been added to the list, and it has been added in 2008. Okay, just one additional point to remember. This has been inaugurated by Lord Curzon. That's it. Remember the name and just the 3 points I told you. Otherwise, other points are not much important as far as UPSC is concerned. Okay. Mahabodhi Temple Complex. So there are only 2 more in this session, and that will be all. And here the 18th one is Mahabodhi Temple at BODHGAYA, 2002, added in 2002. So this is situated in BODHGAYA, state of Bihar. Never forget the location of a place. Okay, Bihar, and it is the part of Great Ganges Plains. So the adjacent river is the Ganges. Mahabodhi Temple is located at the place of Buddha's enlightenment. So when you study about Buddhism, the first thing you study is about where Buddha got enlightenment, where he conducted his first sermon, where he was born, right? He was born in Lumbini. He constructed his first ceremony in Sarnath and enlightenment at BODHGAYA, and he died at Kushinara. So remember all these important places that I will teach you when we study the ancient history area. Okay. So Mahabodhi Temple is located at the place where Buddha got enlightenment, BODHGAYA. The name comes from that ancient mythology. Okay, BODHGAYA. Now, the first temple was built by Emperor Ashoka. So Ashoka was a great follower of Buddhism, especially after the Kalinga War. You may remember that history. So he only constructed the first temple at the Mahabodhi temple complex. It is one of the earliest Buddhist temples entirely built with brick and still standing in India from the late Gupta period. Okay, so the very important point, the temple has been built entirely with brick. Earlier we studied some temples built by some complexes built by red sandstone, right, white sandstone, marble, and here we have something completely built by brick, and that is the Mahabodhi temple complex. Okay, the site of Mahabodhi temple provides exceptional records of events associated with the life of Buddha. Okay, so yeah, like any other Buddhist architecture, Buddha's life stories about bodhisattvas are all inscribed or enshrined into this architectural complex. That's all. Okay. Rock shelters of BHIMBETKA. BHIMBETKA is a very important site as far as history is concerned. I am from Kerala. Okay, I am from Kerala, and there is some. Okay, my pronunciation is a bit difficult to understand. Okay, and okay, we look. Sir, this Mahabodhi is in Nalanda. No, Mahabodhi temple complex is different. Nalanda is different. Mahabodhi is temple complex is different. Okay, Nalanda was what constructed by Kumaragupta very later in the last Gupta period, and it is not a part of this complex. Temple complex is alag and the Nalanda complex is different. Okay, now both are associated with Buddhism, although Buddhism was taught. Method of teaching in Nalanda was also Buddhist. Keep that in mind. Okay. So rock shelters BHIMBETKA. The rock shelters of BHIMBETKA are in the foothills of Vindhyan mountains in the state of Madhya Pradesh. So very famous ancient site, painting site, BHIMBETKA is in Madhya Pradesh. So if you have studied ancient history, you will know that BHIMBETKA have paintings from a lot of ancient period. It has paintings from Upper Paleolithic age to Mesolithic age. Okay, so not the medieval age as well as Upper Paleolithic. Paleolithic itself is divided into lower and upper, and BHIMBETKA has paintings from Upper Paleolithic age to Mesolithic age. Very important. UPSC have asked this question before. BHIMBETKA, also known as Bhima's launch. Okay, Bhima is one of the 5 Pandavas, and it is BHIMBETKA is known as Bhima's launch. Yesterday we studied about the Ratha temples located in Tamil Nadu, the Pallava architecture. There also we have learned about the Bhima Ratha, the Panchapandava Rathas, Dharmaraj Ratha, Bhima Ratha, and all that. Very important. The example of Pallava architecture. Do recall. I hope you recall that. Okay. So yeah, as I have told you, it's a cluster of 5 clusters of natural rock shelters, and it hosts the paintings from, especially from Mesolithic period, but we can see paintings from Upper Paleolithic age as well. Okay, from Upper Paleolithic to Mesolithic period. Most of the paintings are in red and white. Occasionally yellow and green are also used. Predominantly red and white because of the availability of the colors at that time, ancient period. And then as we move on to the Mesolithic age, we will see other variety colors as well, like ochre and green. Okay. Scenes depicted are mainly dancing, playing music, hunting, horses, elephant, and all these things. So remember, these are secular themes. Okay, that is what we have to understand from this. Dancing, playing music, these are not religious themes. These are secular themes. So ancient paintings were mostly secular. They painted about their hunting pictures. You may have seen that in your NCERT textbook. Most of the paintings are animal hunting or some people dancing around a fire and all those things. Okay, the humans, the animals were drawn in 2-dimensional form in a perfect body kind of structure, while human beings were drawn in stick-like structure. You may have played that hangman game, right? Similarly, something like that. This is how humans were represented. Okay, just like in a stick-like structure, while animals were represented in a better 2-dimensional art form. Okay, and household scenes are also occasionally found in BHIMBETKA. Animals like tigers, lions, wild boar, crocodiles are all seen in the BHIMBETKA paintings. Walls of these shelters are also adorned by religious symbols. So as we move forward in time, religion also started setting in, and certain religious symbols are also found. But predominantly, most of the Bhimbedka paintings were secular in nature. Okay, but some religious symbols are found in later period. Last one for today, the Champaner-Pavagadh Architectural Park. Okay, so it has been added to the list in 2004, located in the Panchamal district of Gujarat. Just remember the state, Gujarat, and in the historical city of Champaner, and which was built by Sultan Mahmud Begada of Gujarat. So you may have heard of this Sultan if you have studied medieval India, and he only constructed this famous archaeological area located in the Gujarat state of India, and it is composed of reddish and yellow colored stones. Okay, or one of the oldest rock formations in India, predominantly red and ochre are seen. What religion they practiced during medieval period? Okay, in medieval period, multiple religions were there. All right, it is easy to say that in very ancient period there were no religion, just the civilizational methods. That was all that was predominant at that time. But in the ancient times, the class structure started, and Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism, three religions were predominant. But in medieval period, there were Islam came in. As far as India is concerned, the medieval period starts from Delhi Sultanate onwards, right? So if you are asking in that sense, the answer is multiple religions were there, because Mughals existed, the Krishnadevaraya's empire, Vijayanagara empire was there, the Bahmani kingdom was there, Cholas were there. So multiple religions coexisted at that time, but predominantly medieval period was based on Islam religion only. Okay, but towards the South India, Hinduism was more popular at that time. Okay, now Pavagadh Hill was a famous Hindu fortress under the Solanki kings of Gujarat, followed by the Kichi Chauhans. Okay, so remember, Solanki kingdom of Gujarat are the patrons of this particular hills. Okay, it is a famous Hindu fortress. Sultan Muhammad Begara took possession of this fort in 1484 and renamed it as Muhammadabad. Okay, he gave it an alternate name known as Muhammadabad. These mountains are located in the Maulia Plateau. This is also important because understand what are the important geographical features close to these things. Okay, like for example, river, plateau, and so on and so on. For example, if whenever something is asked from from the West Bengal region or the Bangladesh region, one of the probable options is that it is near the Chotanagpur Plateau. So you need to know what if it is true or false. Another one is when we talk about the Balochistan area or something, and certain Indus Valley sites, a very common option is that this particular site is located in the Potwar Plateau. Is this correct? So you need to understand, you need to know some of the important geographical features associated with these sites. Okay, rivers, plateaus, mountains are all examples of such things. Earliest temple was dated to 10th and 11th century, dedicated to Lakulisa. Lakulisa was a god of that time, worshipped at that time, and this particular temple was dedicated to Lakulisa. Okay, and this other temples belong to Hindu and Jaina sects. So this is not a predominant Hindu only temple. Jainism or Jainist features are also seen in this temple. All the temples are of Nagara style, having Garbhagriha, Mandapa, and entrance porch. Okay, Nagara style, which is predominantly the temple making style of northern India. At south we have Dravida. At the Deccan region we have a mixture called the Vesara style. In Orissa we see the famous Kalinga style. Okay, so these are all different kinds of architecture. And here the Champaner-Pavagadh Archaeological Park, the temples here are all in Nagara style of architecture. Okay, Garbhagriha means the room where the deity is situated. The Sri Govil or the area at the center where the deity, the idol is placed, that is Garbhagriha. On top of that Garbhagriha we see the Shikhara. Okay, and Mandapa, here Mandapa means the hall, the pillared hall in front of the Garbhagriha. This is where you play, dance, various art forms, music and all happen. devotees can also sit here and recite their prayers. Okay, that's the pillared hall in front of the Garbhagriha. That is the Mandapa. Okay. Most important mosques among them are the Jama Masjid, and Jama Masjid represents the perfect combination of Hindu Muslim architecture. So if you remember, although this is a predominantly Hindu temple architecture, some Jainist features are also there, and when Sultan Mahmud Begara took over, he added some Muslim features, and the main important building that came up was the Jama Masjid. Since there is already Hindu features there, this mosque Jama Masjid holds a merger of both Hindu styles as well as Muslim styles. So all these kinds of features are seen in Champaner-Pavagadh region. Okay, so that's probably it for today. I know this has been a bit boring session. I'm sorry for that. Okay, it has been. Some of you have already told that. But in the future classes, we will make it more interesting. One more class like this because I have to cover all the sites. But afterwards, we will start with the true correct flow. Okay, and at that time, this will feel more interesting. If you can tell me all your feedbacks, criticisms, suggestions, and all that, I will also try to improve on that. This is just my third class in YouTube, so I am also learning. So thank you for joining me here. So please do like, subscribe, and share all this. And if you want the notes or the PDFs of what I have taught you today, you can subscribe to my Telegram channel. Here is the link, telegram.t.me/msrw1. Okay, look into that Telegram channel. Subscribe to that. I will be sharing all this in about 5 minutes. Okay, so thanks for watching again. Okay, one more thing, I will be conducting a quiz, online live quiz today 4 p.m. Please join there. It will be based on Indian polity, Lakshmikant first 3 chapters. The quiz will be based on that. You can attempt. There will be 25 questions you can attempt. Okay, so thank you for joining in. Goodbye.